One girl moved with her mom and dad to a new house. The house was new to them, but it was old, and it had lots of rooms, so you could play hide and seek all day long. Soon you will have a little brother, Mommy said, and then you will play hide and seek with him. And Daddy said that the girl could choose any room she wanted. The girl chose a room with a big window that looked out into the garden. In the garden grew a tree on which hung a makeshift swing. A family with children must have lived here, the girl thought, and the children used to ride on these swings. Sometimes, when the girl looked out the window, she would see the swings swinging, as if someone was riding on them, but jumped off and ran away before the girl got to the window. "That's the wind rocking the swing," Daddy said. And sometimes the girl heard someone's footsteps near her room, but when she went out, there was no one. In the fall, the girl went to school and met other children. She quickly made friends with everyone. When the children found out in which house the girl lived, they told her that a family lived there, and a boy was missing. They searched and searched for him for a long time, but they never found him. They killed him themselves, and then they bricked him up in the wall so the police wouldn't find him, said one boy. So they put his dad in jail, and his mom went crazy. So they say. But the girl soon forgot about this story. She didn't care about it. She had a lot of lessons to do. One evening, Mom and Dad went to the movies, and the girl was left at home and put to bed. But the girl could not sleep for a long time. It was raining outside. The drops were loudly knocking on the glass, as if someone was asking to let him into the house. And then the girl heard someone walking in front of the door of her room. The girl thought it was her daddy and Mommy coming back, but when she came out of the room, there was no one in the house. But on the floor, the girl saw someone's footprints. They were very small footprints, so the girl was not frightened. Maybe it's a cat, thought the girl, and followed the footprints. The footprints led to a far room where no one lived now. The girl went in there. The footprints led straight into a closet. The girl turned on the light in the room and said loudly, "Hey, come out, I know you're in the closet." No one came out. Then the girl went to the closet and opened the door. But it wasn't a cat. There was a little boy sitting in the closet. "What are you doing here?" asked the girl. "I'm hiding," answered the boy, "and my mother's looking for me. Hurry up and get in here, or she will come in and find us right away." The girl climbed into the closet and the boy closed the door. "How long have you been hiding?" the girl asked. "Yes," said the boy. "I hid so that no one could find me. At first I was scared and I couldn't get out. I screamed and cried for a long time, but no one came. And when I came out, Mommy and Daddy were nowhere to be found." "Did you ride on the swings in the yard?" asked the girl. "Yes," said the boy. "Sometimes I ride there." This must be the boy who got lost, thought the girl, remembering what she had been told by the children at school. "Do you want me to show you where I hid?" the boy suddenly asked. The girl nodded. They climbed out of the closet and the boy led the girl behind him. "Look what I found." He went to one of the walls, pressed something, and suddenly a narrow gap opened in the wall. "No one knows about it," said the boy and climbed forward. The girl followed him. When they got inside, the crawlway closed behind them. It became dark. "This is where I hid," said the boy. The girl felt the walls with her hands. They were wooden. This must be some old closet, thought the girl. They sat in the dark for a long time, and then suddenly the girl realized that she was alone. "Hey!" she called out to the boy, but no one answered her. Then the girl tried to climb out of the closet, but she couldn't. She couldn't find the handle anywhere. She called for the boy, knocked, but no one answered her. The girl began to look for something to open the closet. Her hands came across some round sticks. "These are human bones," suddenly realized the girl, "and I am not in the closet, but in a coffin." And then the girl screamed, but no one heard her scream. A girl had a dream. She was wandering through a forest, the trees of which were so big that behind their crowns you could not see the sky at all. In the forest she met all kinds of animals, even African lions and polar bears. But the girl was not afraid of them at all. She knew that they would not hurt her. "Girl, girl." Suddenly she heard a voice calling her. She turned and saw a tall man in a white Japanese kimono, with a face painted like a clown. "It is I, your God, calling you," the man said. And as it happens in dreams, the girl somehow knew that he was not lying, although she herself did not really believe in God. "You are open-hearted, and your soul is not poisoned by the poison of suffering," said the God. "You are like a pure mountain spring, and your thoughts are not eaten by the worm of doubt. Only you can help me." "Of course," the girl answered at once. "I will help you. What do I have to do?" God came closer to her, and the girl saw that his face under the clownish smile was twisted as if from unbearable pain. "When I created the world, I made it almost perfect," God said. "I made only one mistake, and I corrected it immediately. But the imperfection had already penetrated into the universe and poisoned everything." God suddenly laughed, but immediately cut his laughter short. "Since then, no matter how much I correct the world," God said, "it is getting further and further away from perfection." "If you can't fix the world, what can I do?" asked the girl. God's face contorted at these words as if from a blow. His clownish smile turned into a sinister grin. But the girl took his hand. "Don't be afraid," she said. "I told you I'll help you." When the girl woke up in the morning, she had not forgotten her dream. And while she washed her face, while she brushed her teeth and ate breakfast, while she went to school, solved examples in class, came home and did her homework, watched cartoons in the evening, she didn't stop thinking about it. But no idea came to her mind. The girl took the children's Bible she had been given for her birthday and began to reread the stories, hoping to find the answer there. But then she realized that this was not the way to find the answer. No book in the world would have the answer, otherwise God would have known the answer long ago. The girl began to think further. Sooner or later, the solution would be found. 2 days later, when she and her mother went shopping at the store, the girl suddenly stopped near an aquarium with fish. The fish had the eyes of the God from her dream, and those eyes were asking the girl for help. The girl touched the aquarium glass with her hand. "I will definitely find the answer," she promised, and ran to catch up with her mom. "Those fish in the aquarium," the girl said to her mom, "they will be killed and eaten, won't they?" Mom nodded absent-mindedly. The next day, the girl saw a car hit a stray dog. The dying dog lay in a pool of blood and looked at the girl with the suffering eyes of a god. In the evening, the television showed a picture of a missing young girl. She looked from the screen with the eyes of a god and silently begged for help. "She will never be found alive again," the girl said, but no one heard her. 3 days later, the girl was taken away by the police. She was found in the city park with a large kitchen knife in her hand. She was standing next to a dead man in a clown costume. When the policeman asked the girl what had happened, she smiled and serenely replied, "I've fixed everything. Everything will be all right now." "Who was that man?" asked the policeman. "He attacked you?" "It was God," answered the girl. "He was mad and created a mad world, and that's why he couldn't fix it. But I found the only possible solution." The girl was silent and nodded to her thoughts. "What solution?" Did not understand the policeman. "To kill God," said the girl, and frightened of her own words, clamped her hands over her mouth. The policeman shook his head. The girl laughed. "It doesn't matter," she said, waving her blood-stained hand. "The main thing is that we managed to correct the mistake. I managed to." But then the girl looked behind the back of the policeman sitting opposite her. There on the wall hung a large mirror, and in that mirror she saw her reflection. The girl on the other side of the mirror looked at her with the mad eyes of a god. There was a girl who lived in a small town. Not far from their house, on a weedy and nettled wasteland, there were old ruins. It was unknown whether it was a castle or a temple, but people in the town tried to stay away from this place. Children were also afraid of these ruins. but they still came here sometimes, running among the rubble and debris, pretending that they were not the least bit afraid, although their screams were more fearful than fun. The adults forbade the children to play there, especially since a dead boy had recently been found in the ruins. But the more they talked about it, the more the children wanted to visit the forbidden place. Many scary stories were told about the ruins, about the bone monster, about the green mist that could suffocate, about the black window. The scariest story was about the black window that appeared right in the air, but almost no one could see it, because it appeared only on moonless nights. But apparently someone still noticed a piece of blackness hanging in front of him, which differed from the black sky in that there were no stars visible in it. If one was not afraid and put his hand into the black window, he could pull out a gold bar or a diamond or ruby, although it is possible to lose an arm in this way. And sometimes one's own or someone else's death was taken out of the black window. Someone else's death simply flew away, and if someone took out his own death, he immediately fell dead. The worst were those who didn't notice the black window and went through it. They were found later as if they had been caught between two converging walls, their bones shattered into small pieces. But all the children dreamed of sneaking into the ruins at night and finding the black window. Many carried a piece of rope and a treble hook made of thick wire to throw it through the black window and pull out gold or precious stones. One day a girl and her two friends went to the ruins after school so that no one would say they were cowards. They thought they could just take one look and then leave right away. They were hardly scared because the sun was shining and it was still a long way from evening. When the girls climbed into the ruins, they were not afraid at all, for there they met two boys from the neighboring yard. It was more frightening to twist a leg or to trip and fall, running among the piles of old stones. After playing in the ruins, the children were about to leave, when suddenly one of the boys squealed, "Window! A black window!" The others ran up to the shouting boy and indeed saw a square piece of impenetrable blackness hanging low to the ground. One of the boys was already tying a wire hook to the rope. The black window hung in the air, faceless and motionless. But there was still something threatening about it, which made the children huddle together and cast nervous glances toward the black canvas of impenetrable darkness. "Maybe we shouldn't," said one girl. "If you're scared, you can leave," said the boy with the hook. "No one's holding you back, and we will take all the gold, because we found this window." The boy went to the black window, untwisted the hook, and threw it into the center of the blackness, releasing the rope to its full length. "I've got something," he shouted, pulling the rope. "I've got something." He pulled the rope toward him, and almost pulled the whole rope out when suddenly something pulled the rope from the other side, and so hard that the boy could not keep his feet and fell straight through the black window. Someone shouted. Another boy jumped forward, trying to catch his falling friend, but he was not in time. "What do we do now?" he asked a moment later. "Go after him?" The next moment, a huge bony hand came out of the black window trying to grab the boy, but he deftly crouched down and bounced back. The bony hand disappeared. "I won't go in there," said the boy, stammering with fear. The girls were silent. Their faces were as white as chalk. "But he is there," said the girl, "and he needs our help." "Did you see what came out of there?" shouted another girl and cried, "He's been dead for a long time." As if confirming her words, the black window disappeared, and a moment later the children, as if only now realizing what had happened, ran away screaming. After running through the weeds and not noticing the burns from nettles, the girl got out of the abandoned vacant lot and stopped abruptly. A car passed by. On the other side of the road, a woman with bags was coming from the store. The sun was shining. Music was coming from an open window somewhere. Around was calm and peaceful, and what happened in the ruins seemed like a dream, though very scary but quickly forgotten. The girl did not see any other children, but they could have run the other way. "And what are we going to tell his mom?" the girl thought, but forgot about it almost immediately. She shook off her clothes and went home. There was homework to be done. There was no black window, thought the girl. We just imagined it. But no sooner had she taken 5 steps than suddenly the darkness opened right under her feet. One girl moved with her mom and dad to a new house. The house was old and very beautiful. The girl liked it very much at first. There were many rooms and big trees grew right outside the windows. Mom and Dad showed the girl all the rooms in the house. "And we also have a basement," Dad said. "There is a couch and a big TV so you can watch movies like in a movie theater." They went down to the basement, but the girl suddenly felt sick. "It smells so bad in here," said the girl and ran out of the cellar. But the girl's mom and dad didn't smell anything. "Okay," said the mom. "You don't have to go to the basement if you don't like it." They began to live in the new house and everything was fine, but the smell from the basement did not go away and even became as if stronger. "It smells like death and a hospital," the girl said, as if someone had died. Only worse. But no one else could smell the odor except the girl. Even the foreman was called in, but his instruments detected nothing. "The air is clean, no poisonous fumes," said the master and left. But that was not all. In the new house, the girl began to dream strange dreams. In them there was a strange and very ancient city, square towers of black stone, dark alleys and overhanging houses. In this city lived creepy, ugly creatures covered in scales, with webbing between their legs and triangular heads like snakes. These creatures buried their dead in glass coffins that they stacked in towers. The living came to the dead, cut their hands, poured blood on the glass coffin lids, and listened to the dead tell them about the afterlife. In this city, the dead were called invisible. From these dreams, the girl woke up screaming, but could not tell why these unknown creatures frightened her so much. However, she recognized that stinking smell from the basement. The same smell was in the dark towers of the ancient city. The girl began to dream about the ancient city more and more often, and the living became less and less, and the dead more and more. The city was crumbling, the towers crumbled, and only the glass coffins with their gruesome contents remained intact, lying in piles among the ruins. In her dreams, the girl wandered alone among the glass coffins, trying to find a way out of the city, and the invisible ones turned their snake-like triangular heads after her. But one night the girl woke up in her room and could not recognize it. It seemed to her as if she was in a dark tower of a dead ancient city. Then she realized that her room was filled with a stench. Thin threads of odor stretched from the basement like the tentacles of an unknown monster. "It's the invisible ones," the girl guessed. "They're looking for me." And also, by the smell, the girl realized that the invisible ones were very hungry. After all, those ancient creatures died out many years ago, and there was no one to pour blood on the glass coffins. The girl climbed out of bed, and carefully, trying not to get into the moving in the air tentacles invisible, began to sneak into the bedroom to Mom and Dad. But when she got there, she saw that Mom and Dad were dead. The tentacles of the invisible braided them like huge worms and drank their blood. With fear, the girl almost began to scream. She had to clamp her hands over her mouth and bite her fingers until they bled. When the girl felt the salty taste of blood in her mouth, she suddenly realized what she had to do. After all, to kill the invisible she could not. They were already long dead. The girl snuck into the kitchen, threw on the floor old newspapers that were lying on the refrigerator, took matches, and lit them. When the fire broke out, the girl threw some more newspapers on top, opened the gas on the stove, and climbed out through the window into the street. In the flaming fire, she had time to see the tentacles of the invisible squirming in pain in the fire, and then the whole world disappeared in a fiery flash. When the firemen and the police arrived, the house was completely burned down. In the ashes, the police found the bones of 2 dead people. The girl was taken to the hospital. She forgot everything, so she had to be taught to walk and talk again. She was taken from the hospital by her uncle and aunt, with whom she began to live. Sometimes the girl had nightmares with horrible, ugly creatures in glass boxes, and when the girl woke up, she drank special pills, which the doctor prescribed her, and quickly forgot these dreams.